Hello there, so today we're going to be doing a review of the brand new Revolution Pro full cover camouflage foundation. So Revolution Pro is the newest kind of sister company to Makeup Revolution. They've got I Heart Makeup, they've got Makeup Obsession and Freedom. Did I mention Freedom Makeup? I don't know. Literally, I have the memory span of a fish with dementia, like literally. But anyway, so yeah, so Revolution Pro is the newest sister company. In all honesty, like, I don't know why there's so many sister companies. Like, we've got Revolution Pro, we've got Makeup Revolution. Like, what's the difference? Is like Revolution Pro like meant to be like the pro line? But then what actually is a pro line? Like, it's not like you have to be a professional makeup artist to buy this, because if you did, there's no way that I would have my makeup junkie little hands on it. So I don't understand, like, why not just bring this out as Makeup Revolution, which is the established brand? I just don't understand. If anyone has studied business studies and understands, I'd really be interested to know. I actually did study business studies, but I just fecked about in paint, drawing cocks the whole time. So anyway, that's just me. But anyway, so the foundation was released in 18 different shades, and I have the shade F4. F4 is for light skin tones with neutral undertones. I believe I've got fairly light skin with neutral undertones. Correct me if I'm wrong, like literally. I feel like one of the mysteries of life is, what kind of fecking undertone do I even have right now? I never feel like I know. And I know people say, okay, look at your veins, and like, are your veins blue? Are your veins green? Well, mine kind of look a bit blue and a bit green, so that doesn't help me out. I literally do not know. But anyway, so it just says, oh, vaginas, like literally what's going on? So these cost £7. You get 0.87 fluid ounce of product, and it's got a 6-month kind of expiry lifespan date. What is that? I don't know. It can just be there for 6 months, and you can be confident that everything's fine. If you keep it in your makeup drawer for any longer than 6 months, it will self-destruct, taking out all of your other makeup with it. I mean, could you imagine if that was actually a thing? Like, really. But anyway, highly pigmented and creamy in 18 skin true shades, Revolution Pro full cover camouflage foundation creates maximum coverage with an even natural finish. Apply to targeted areas or all over, and blend out using a brush or sponge to cover blemishes, scars, blah blah blah. It just says it's waterproof, non-transferable. Literally, I've never met a foundation that has been non-transferable. Like, literally, if ever I hug anyone, I just feel so bad when I come away and I can see my foundation is all up there. It's going to be super, super long wearing. So I am just going to begin to apply this, and we can carry on talking. I've got a sponge which looks bigger than it's ever looked before in its whole life. I have no idea why. And I've also got a flat top kabuki from BH Cosmetics. So I'm going to do one side with one instrument and one side with the other one. So let's just get the bad boy out. I mean, I wonder if these shades of the Revolution Pro line will be kind of synchronized with the shades of the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I have no idea. Like, literally, these are all the questions that are in my mind. But this one definitely does look to be, I mean, it looks a little bit pinky undertone. But anyway, this is what F4 looks like. It looks quite beige, is what it looks like. I think we're going to begin with a sponge today. So I'm just going to go bap, bap, bap. It's quite a thick liquid. It's not the thickest in the world, but it's not thin. Oh my gosh, it's spreading very nicely. Look at that. Oh, hello there. Now, I do have oily skin. It's not super, super oily, but it's definitely more oily than normal. I also have recently, like in the last week or so, started to break out a little bit just around my like chin and jaw and by my nose and just like over by my ear. I mean, I've started to break out just a little bit, which is rather disappointing, you know. So I do have quite a lot I want to cover up. I always try and steer away from full coverage foundations because I'm 34 now, and I do find that they can not be the most flattering sometimes. Yes, they cover shit up, but they can also really emphasize like fine lines, the fact that you're 34, you know. So I do kind of usually like stick with a good medium coverage generally. I just think it looks a bit more flattering on the skin. But I mean, I feel like that has spread amazingly well. Let me just have a little look in my mirror of reality. Oh my gosh, the shade of it looks off though. Like the shade of it looks a bit bizarre. I don't know how well you can see that, but like in my mirror of reality, it looks very pink undertoned. Very pink undertoned is what I will say. And it's emphasizing my pores a lot. It's already looking very cakey just on my chin and just like, you know, to the side of my nose where my pores are very prevalent. It's also already, I can see, can you see it's emphasizing those lines just here? I mean, that's doing my head in for a start. Like right now, I never want to see those lines as visible as that. Can you see what I mean, guys? Oh my gosh, like literally. Okay, so far this fecking foundation is actually emphasizing, I can't speak. This fecking foundation is emphasizing a lot that I don't want to emphasize, and I actually feel like the coverage isn't that great. You'll see like little red marks, the ghosts of spots past. I mean, really. And also it does feel kind of tacky, and I can feel it on my face. Like, I don't like that. Oh my gosh, like literally. And also I'm noticing on my hand, like it's not, actually it is, it's oxidizing on my hand. Like it's kind of oxidizing, but not in like, it's not going like an orangey shade, it's just becoming a lot more pink. So okay, we're just going to go into the other side. I'm going to use my brush. I'm kind of reserving judgment, but at the same time not really, because I mean these are my first impressions. So I mean, yeah, I'm not liking how it is so far. Of course I might end up liking it, but probably not, because look at this. Oh, holy vaginas. Anyway, okay, so we're going to go in with the brush. This is probably going to give us a little bit more in the way of coverage, and I'm a little bit wary to build up the right side of my face, because I feel like if I build this up anymore, it's going to look even cakier than it actually looks right now. So, you know, but anyway, with a brush, this is applying beautifully. Yeah, I mean, it applies really beautifully. It just kind of melts into the skin. So, I mean, I can't knock it for that. Because even in just like the areas where I've got little breakouts, I can just see it just does not look like it's having a party. It looks like it's having a fecking funeral up in there. So, I mean, really, guys. Okay, so I'm just popping this on the FOD. So, guys, I've applied it all over my face. I've not yet applied my powder or anything like that, but it's not feeling good. It feels really like a bit itchy just here around like my jaw. And then we've got like the, you know, accentuation of the fine lines. It's like, dude, I know I've got fine lines there, but I don't feel like any other foundation has actually welcomed them, you know, into the world for everybody to see quite as vivaciously as this foundation. Also, one thing that has kind of surprised me a little bit is the finish. I was expecting that this would be more of a matte finish, as a lot of full coverage foundations usually are, but it's actually quite dewy, and I feel like from back here I actually really like the finish of it. It's definitely more radiant, and I think it's making my skin look healthy. It's making my skin look quite glowy and full of life. But the problem is, like, when you get closer and you just see everything that's wrong with my skin, and believe me, there's a lot wrong with my skin, I just don't really like that. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup, and then I will be back and you can see how it all looks once it's been set in place.
Primark's Rose Powder will be my setting powder today. I absolutely love this setting powder. I'm just going to kind of pat that all over my face. Set this bad boy down.
Okay, so I'm going to be using a lipstick that I got from Revolution Pro. This is in the shade Vindicator. It's kind of like a brownie shade, and it looked really beautiful. And then I obviously was too eager when I was closing it. And look, I've just kind of shaved off its head. I mean, really, can you even believe it right now? But I just thought, should we try this out together? We can see, oh, what it looks like. Oh my gosh, like literally, oh, okay, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I like it. guys, it's a beautiful cool toned brown, almost has like grey undertones to it. I really am loving this. It's a bit difficult to apply though, because obviously I smashed its head in, but it's going on really nicely. It's super creamy, goes on just so easily. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, there was a lipstick that, see, I'm squashing it again. What? Yeah, there was a lipstick that Oprah recently released called Tomboy. Not that I've ever seen it or got my hands on it, but it kind of reminds me of that. I really love it. Okay, so back to the foundation. This is what it looks like. I applied my setting powder, a bit of blush, and that was it. So I'm going to be testing this foundation out over the next day or so, and once I have really got to grips with the bones, with the soul of this foundation, I'll be back and I'll give you my kind of final thoughts on it. But just like so far, I'm not hugely like optimistic about it, just because I don't really like how it looks close up. I just don't feel like my skin is flawless enough to be able to get away with a very full coverage foundation these days. Not that my skin ever was flawless, but anyway, as I say, I will be testing this out thoroughly, and then I will come back to you soon. Bye. Hello there, so I'm back. It's a few days later. I have worn the Camouflage foundation for about 5 days now, not just having it obviously on my face for 5 days, but I've worn it for the past 5 days. I didn't need to explain that, did I? But anyway, I've worn it to work, I've worn it to Tesco, I've worn it to the sex club. I've not sex club, as if I don't go to the sex club. But anyway, yeah, I've just worn it a lot. Last night I was editing the first impression part, the beginning part of this video, and I was watching it thinking, oh my gosh, I totally hate this foundation. But do you know what? Surprisingly, I actually really like it. Like, it's really grown on me. I feel like this is actually a really good kind of full coverage foundation, but it's not like super cakey. Believe me, it is a little bit cakey. Like, I've had this on for about 6 hours now, and you can definitely see my pores. And I do feel like, you know, around the side of my nostrils, it can really kind of sink into pores just around that zone. So that zone, you know, as the hours go on, can just deteriorate into madness. Obviously, in terms of my spots, I call this like the war zone, no man's land, spot central. Down here, you can definitely see the texture on my skin. But what I do find with this foundation is that it actually lasts really well. It definitely, like, it's one of those foundations that you can feel on your face. Like, I feel oily when I wear this foundation, and no matter how much I set it and try and lock it in place, it feels oily. So I would definitely say, like, if you're an oily kind of girl and you don't like that feeling of like a heavy foundation on your face feeling oily, you know, when you're sat there thinking, oh my gosh, I bet I'm just kind of the shiniest girl in the world right now. If that's not really like for you, then I don't think you would like this foundation, because you can definitely feel it on the face. It's not one of those invisible kind of foundations, and I normally don't like foundations you can feel on your face. Believe me, I'm normally the kind of girl that does not want to be shiny, but there's just something about this foundation that I can't knock. I just like it. I think it gives you a good full coverage, although it's not like the fullest coverage in the world. But this is my secret with the foundation. This is the #1 secret, and I would definitely recommend you give this a go. And I know it's not for everyone, but my favorite way to apply the foundation is with my fingers. So I just get like a little tiny amount, and I just kind of blend it in. It spreads everywhere, and I find that it just gives me a really nice smooth even coverage. I feel like if I go in with a sponge or with a brush, I can't really control as well how much I'm actually putting on my face, and I think that's why it can look quite cakey. But I find it with my fingers, it's one of those foundations that just, it loves the fingers. It loves a bit of fingering is what it loves, really. I can't really comment, unfortunately, as to how this would hold upon more drier skin types, but I would definitely say, like, considering the fact that it does make me feel quite oily, I think it would be well suited to drier skin types, but I can't really categorically say. If any of you guys have got dry skin and you've tried this foundation, I would be really interested to hear how it worked for you, and I'm sure that many other people would as well. In essence, I think this foundation is actually a really, really good one for £7. I think the fact that it comes in 18 different shades, I just think it's a really good quality foundation, but you will feel it on your skin. If you've got oily skin, you will get shiny and you will need to kind of touch up throughout the day. Other than that, I can't not recommend it. I think it's great. As I said as well in the first impression, I was surprised that it's not your typical kind of flat matte look. It definitely has a little bit of like a radiance to it. It's not super dewy, but it definitely is kind of radiant. It's got a bit of life to it, a little bit of a party going on up in your face. I like this, and I think at the beginning of the video it was like looking like I was gonna hate it, but I really actually like it. And I think this is why it's so important to not just do like first impressions, because if I had just done a first impression and tried it on and then just sat here and went, oh, this is a bullshit, I would never have worn this again. I would have thrown it in the dustbin of makeup regret. So I am going to go. I hope that this review has been somewhat useful to you. If you're thinking of trying out this foundation, I would definitely recommend that you go for it. It's definitely worth a try, and I really, really like it. If there's anything that I've missed out or you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them downstairs in the comments, and I'm going to go and leave you all to the rest of your days. But thank you. It's days. You're thinking, how many days do you think we're having, Anwen? This is a day where I am. I don't know about you, but we have a day, not days. Anyway, I don't know. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with more.